Muchas gracias. Thank you. 谢谢大家. I'm going to talk about a research that I have done for my PhD dissertation about the impact of performative language teaching in Chinese. I believe this is a methodology that has not been researched before so deeply in the context. We call it in English performative language teaching. In Chinese is 戏剧化教学法, or in Spanish would be called like pedagogía dramática aplicada a la enseñanza de idiomas. So the main concept here is that we have to give students the opportunity to interact, and the basics of these are three famous authors and hypotheses: interaction hypothesis, output hypothesis, and the input hypothesis. They believe that by interacting, by talking in the classroom, we promote language learning. So this is a simple diagram about in the classroom. We call it PLT from now. We create the right conditions for the students to practice Chinese in the oral speaking part. And also with Vygotsky, social cultural theory, the learning happens not only in the classroom from the teacher, but also from the other classmates. This is what we call peer support. So it's very important to have, create a new methodology for Chinese teaching. There are a lot of research in the past for drama or PLT in different languages, especially English, as you can see some of these studies, but only a few people have done research in the use of drama in Chinese language teaching and learning. So this study is probably the first one that used quantitative approach and research approach that we will see now. Also is the first one that has done in the Spanish-speaking to date Spanish speakers in the Chinese classroom. Also, we integrated different software that we believe is also an innovation for the field. At that time, I was a Chinese teacher at the Escuela Oficial de Idiomas, and I was working in Galicia, and my students were all adults. I was teaching a B1-2 level, which is kind of like HSK3 level. So in 2 years' time, we designed the research with a control group that used the traditional methodology, like the typical, will show what it is exactly. And then another group with the treatment group with the performative language teaching, the PLT group. Both same classes from a time 1 pre-test and a time 2 post-test. We did a test. I'll show you exactly. So the groups, we tried to find almost exactly the same kind of students, similar age, also similar grades. So we believe with these two groups, they had a similar level of Chinese at the beginning of their classes. So one was the control, one was the treatment, but they had a similar Chinese at the beginning of the course. The difference was obviously the methodology that we use. I was the teacher for both groups. In the first group, we use more like based on grammar, vocabulary, memorization, and the treatment group, we use more interaction activities like role play, improvisation, and process drama. The book was also the same, so we have the same school, same teacher, same textbook, but we changed the methodology. So maybe you already know this book. It's very popular in Escuela de Idiomas in Spain. It's called New Practical Chinese Reader. So we have 4 units, as you can see in the picture, that we use in both. So this, as you can see, probably if you know the book, this is like a very introduction about the book. They have a main text with some new words, 选词课本, and a lot of like grammar points like 语法点. But there are not many interaction activities, as you can see. This is a typical classroom or classing lesson from this book, right? But for the treatment group, we use different approach. For example, we use movies, and students have to do role play with improvise with these movies. We give them like a Hong Kong movie, like Liu Dahua, for example, and then we stop the scene here, and we ask the students in pairs to use some grammar structure, for example, a passage, or to create sentences, and they will do that in the classroom, completely improvise. Also, we use, for example, dubbing. In Chinese is paying, doblaje de audio, with the textbook and the text, but the students have to like work together as a team. So there was also like a performing activity. We gave them also classes like you have to do a casting for Hua Mulan. You have to become the lead actress in Hua Mulan. They have to introduce themselves and interact. We also use real, authentic literature, for example, from Sam Mao, the writer, and then the story with the Spanish He, where the students have to be part of their life. And then let's go for the study now. The research we done, we focus on oral proficiency. It's a Koyu, right? So we want to measure fluency. We want to measure comprehensibility and accent, Koyin, of the students. So we gave them like 4 tasks. First task 1 was a first-person picture narration. They have to see the pictures and tell the story in Chinese, obviously. Then task number 2, they have to use the third person. And then we have a monologue about introducing a city that they like, and an improvised role play dialogue with the teacher, where they have to play the role of an international student in Chinese. So our hypotheses were 2. The first is that we believe that following a PLT program, they will improve the learners' oral skills in Chinese. Hypothesis number 2, there will be cross-task variation in oral performance. So these were the 4 tasks we gave to both groups, the control group and also the experimental treatment group. Time 1 and time 2 is a pre-test and post-test. They were exactly the same tasks for both. They were recorded, digitally remastered, and then we use this software, Audacity software, to convert to 3 different formats, as you can see, in 3 audio formats. The output audio from the tasks that were recorded at both times were also integrated using the software called SoundCloud, which is a free open software, where we can embed, we can upload and store all these audios online. So we have all the audios from the researchers online. Then we designed the rating scales. We were having like a scale, and we follow these studies from these Canadians and Americans researchers that they did in the past. So for us, 1 is the best grade and 9 is the lowest. We follow exactly the same as they did. So it's 1 is high, 9 is poor. Then we integrate the tasks form in the online form using the software called JotForm. And then we integrate everything. You need to have the audio and the questions from the research, and we will all send these to the raters. Raters are the persons that were native Chinese that will listen to the recordings from the students, and they will give a grade depending on how well they think they perform. Obviously, the rater didn't know if they were like the control group of experimental group, but then we integrated it with Google Drive, also with Google Sheets, and we send an email automatically to Outlook and Gmail. So we have all integrated. And we also use WeChat, right? With this very popular application. We used WeChat, and we found 75 raters, that is Chinese native speakers who were living in Europe and America. So we send all this data that we collected from the students in the classroom to these raters, and we're giving all this information about, okay, this is what the raters did, basically. They get this online. They could use their cell phone or an iPad or a computer, and they will see the tasks, so they know what they are doing, and they could listen to the recordings of the students, and then online they just confirm the rating. They can give the grade, from 1 to 9, being 1 the best and 9 the lowest. So you can see.
今天是非常高兴有这个机会跟好朋友一起玩，我们是一起踢足球。可是在踢足球的时候有一个学生打给我非常没法读。
So they listen to you can see they listen to that, and then they record, and then they rate, they put the grading. Then we have a lot of data coming from these raters. So we have to order it and process it first with Google Sheets, then we transfer to Microsoft Excel, and then with a statistical software called Stata. With this statistical software, we want to analyze what's the variation and what's the changes in both groups using the data that we get from the Chinese native speakers. So this is a summary of all the process. It took about three years to complete, 2 years to get the data from the students, and then 1 year with the raters. So in the end, this is the mathematics of the study. At the ending, we have 75 raters, 16 students, 4 tasks, and 2 times. So that's 128 samples. And then we calculated with ANOVA. We did 2 ANOVA variations, and also t-test, independent t-test. So this is the result. Remember, the lower the number, the better, because in our scale, 1 is the best performance and 9 is the lowest. So blue color is the treatment group. This is for fluency. See, if we have less number, means we improved. in our scale. So that means the treatment control improve more than the control group. Look at comprehensibility. It has a similar pattern. So we can see after all the analysis, we can say there was an improvement also in comprehensibility for the group that did drama, that did like performative language teaching. In accent, the improvement is not as big as the other two, but it's also a slight better improvement. So for research question number 1, we validate hypothesis number 1, but yes, there was an improvement in oral levels more in the treatment group, the group that was using drama compared to the other one. Yes, okay, thank you. And then also, if we compare the other parts like summary of the findings in fluency, all the 3, fluency, comprehensibility, and accent improved, but we can see that fluency improved more than the other ones. And then also for research question number 2, we have, does fluency vary across the speaking tasks? Well, you can see, yes, there is a variation. That's also what we thought. So some tasks, like for example, the speaking part, when you are doing improvised dialogue, maybe has a better fluency than other ones. When you are on your own or monologue, it's more difficult to elaborate the output. So we discovered that when you have a dialogue in the classroom, it's actually more fluent when you're talking on your own. And then we have here the numbers. I'm not going to go into all the details, but also, as you can see in comprehensibility, there is a variation, right, as you can see here, and also in accent. So to summarize the results of research question number 2, fluency also varies across tasks, especially a core attack that happened at task 4 at time 1, and also training appeared to impact task 1 and 2, which was remember the picture description. So comprehensibility and accent also changed, but the thing is, in a way, what are the conclusions of this? So first, we demonstrated using quantitative data, which is the first time in this kind of solution, in this study for Chinese has ever been done, that using drama, performative language teaching in the classroom improves or helps improve speakers' oral skills, right? So we can maybe think, okay, we can think about using performative language teaching more in the classroom. We could do more teacher training maybe about that. Also, we should, as teachers, we should use different kind of tasks in the classroom, monologues, dialogues, reading, writing, so we can have a variety of projects so the students can improve. Also, I recommend maybe for the Confucius Institute to change a little bit the HSK 考试, because in HSK traditional 考试, there's not a lot of speaking part, but the questions that you have are not really well designed. So I have some, ideas for that. And then there was limitations, obviously, in our study. We have a small number of participants. As you know, Escuela Oficial de Idiomas in Spain, there are not a lot of students compared as in China or other countries, but so getting 8 on each group was already not bad, but we should increase in the future. And then also we can add qualitative research, not only quantitative. Future research, there's a lot of possibilities, motivation, anxiety, online. So PLT has a lot of future applications. I'm going to finish now by saying something from Galicia that Santiago is not the end of the way. Santiago is just the beginning. Because in a way we have to continue to research, continue to work and learn together. So muchísimas gracias por su atención. Espero poder aprender de todos ustedes y cualquier cosa。非常感谢各位老师。那我今天跟大家交流得很开心。有什么事我们可以以后再交流。谢谢啊。
Muchísimas gracias.